My daughter-in-law slapped me across the face. In my own kitchen, in front of my son, on the morning of my 75th birthday. The sound echoed off the walls, sharp, sudden, violent. My cheek burned, my eyes watered. But I did not cry out, I did not stumble. I stood perfectly still and looked at her. "That is for interfering," Priscilla said, her voice cold and steady. "You need to learn to stay out of our business." My son Raymond stood 3 feet away. He watched his wife strike his mother, and he said nothing. Did nothing. His face was blank, empty, like he was watching something that did not concern him. "Raymond," I said quietly, "are you going to let her do this?" He shifted his weight, looked at the floor. "You have been causing problems, Mama. Priscilla is right. You need to stay in your lane." Stay in my lane, in my own house, after his wife had just put her hands on me. I touched my cheek. It was hot, throbbing. There would be a bruise. But I did not fight back. I did not raise my voice. I did not demand respect. I did not tell them to get out of my house. I simply nodded. "I understand." Priscilla's eyes narrowed. She had expected a fight. She had wanted a fight. My calm response threw her off balance. "Good," she said after a moment. "I am glad we understand each other." They left shortly after. Raymond did not look back. Priscilla walked out with her head high, triumphant. And I stood alone in my kitchen, my face still burning, and I made a decision. I did not fight back. And that changed everything. They thought I was broken. That was their first mistake. My name is Harriet Celestine Beaumont. I am 75 years old. I have lived in this house for 44 years. I raised 2 children here, buried a husband from here, and plan to live out my final years in peace. But peace, it seemed, was not in my future. Because my son had married a monster, and I was only just beginning to understand how dangerous she truly was. Let me tell you about Priscilla. She came into our lives 6 years ago. Raymond met her at some business conference. She was a consultant, he said. Smart, ambitious, exactly the kind of woman he needed. From the beginning, something felt wrong. She was too polished, too perfect. Her smiles never reached her eyes. Her compliments always had edges. But Raymond was smitten, blinded. He proposed after 8 months and married her 3 months later. I tried to warn him, gently, carefully. I told him he was moving too fast. I asked if he really knew her. I suggested they wait, take more time. He did not listen. And Priscilla never forgave me for trying. The problems started small. Priscilla would make comments about my age, my health, my ability to take care of myself. "Mother Beaumont, are you sure you should be driving? Your reflexes are not what they used to be." "Mother Beaumont, have you considered moving somewhere smaller? This house must be so much work." "Mother Beaumont, I noticed you repeated yourself at dinner. That can be a sign of cognitive decline, you know." I dismissed it at first. She was young, she did not understand. She meant well. But she did not mean well. She was laying groundwork, planting seeds, building a case. I just did not see it yet. Now, if you are still with me, I need you to understand something. The slap was not the beginning. It was the moment when everything that had been building finally broke through the surface. Priscilla had been working against me for years, slowly, carefully, and my son had been letting her. If you want to know why she slapped me, what I had done to interfere, subscribe to this channel. Press that button. Press the like button too. Turn on that notification bell so you never miss what comes next. And drop a comment telling me where you are watching from. Tell me if someone has ever put their hands on you and expected you to just accept it. I want to know I am not alone in this. Now, let me continue. The interference Priscilla accused me of was simple. I had asked questions. 2 weeks before my birthday, I had noticed something strange. Raymond had come to visit alone, which was unusual, and asked me to sign some documents. "What are these for?" I asked. "Just some financial stuff, estate planning, nothing to worry about." I looked at the papers. They were complicated. Legal language I did not fully understand, but I saw enough. power of attorney, transfer of property, authorization to manage my affairs. Raymond, why do you need power of attorney over me? It is just a precaution, Mama, in case something happens to you. Nothing is happening to me. I am perfectly healthy. You never know. It is better to be prepared. I did not sign. I told him I needed to think about it, that I wanted my lawyer to review the documents first. Raymond's face changed. The mask slipped just for a moment. I saw frustration, anger, something darker. Mama, you are being difficult. This is for your own good. My own good does not require me to sign away control of my life. He left angry. I did not hear from him for a week. And then came my birthday, and the slap. That was the moment I understood. Priscilla had not slapped me because I was interfering. She had slapped me because I had refused to sign away my independence, because I had asked questions instead of blindly complying, because I had shown that I was not the confused old woman she wanted me to be. The slap was a message, a warning, a demonstration of what would happen if I continued to resist. But she had miscalculated. Because I did not fight back, and that changed everything. The days after my birthday were quiet. I did not call Raymond. I did not demand an apology. I did not threaten to cut them out of my life. I simply went about my days as if nothing had happened. But inside, I was working. I started with the documents Raymond had asked me to sign. I took them to my lawyer, Eleanor Aucaffer, a sharp woman who had handled my husband's estate. Harriet, these documents are troubling, Eleanor said after reviewing them. The power of attorney is broad. It would give Raymond complete control over your finances, your property, even your medical decisions. Is that normal? For someone who is incapacitated, perhaps, but you are not incapacitated. You are perfectly competent. There is no reason for documents this comprehensive unless. Unless what? Eleanor looked at me with serious eyes. Unless someone is planning to use them to take control of your life. I asked Eleanor to dig deeper. What she found made my blood run cold. Raymond had been busy. Over the past 2 years, he had been making inquiries, contacting nursing homes, speaking with financial advisors about managing elderly relatives' assets, researching guardianship laws. And 6 months ago, he had added his name to one of my bank accounts. An account I had set up years ago for emergencies, which I had foolishly given him access to just in case. The balance had been $43,000. It was now $12,000. My son had been stealing from me, and he had been planning to do much more. I did not confront him. I remembered the slap. I remembered the look in Priscilla's eyes, the satisfaction, the triumph. I remembered Raymond standing there, doing nothing while his wife assaulted his mother. If I confronted them, they would escalate. They would accelerate their plans. They would find a way to silence me before I could protect myself. So I stayed quiet. I did not fight back. But I was not surrendering. I was preparing. The next piece of the puzzle came from an unexpected source. My younger daughter, Vivian, lived in Chicago. We talked every week, but she had not visited in over a year. Life was busy, work, her own family, the distance. But after my birthday, I called her. Mama, what is wrong? You sound different. Vivian, I need to ask you something. Has Raymond contacted you recently? About me? A long pause. How did you know? What did he say? He called about a month ago. He said he was worried about you, that you were showing signs of confusion, that you had been forgetting things, getting disoriented. He asked if I would support him if he needed to take steps to protect you. What kind of steps? He mentioned guardianship, power of attorney, moving you somewhere you could get proper care. My heart was pounding, but my voice stayed steady. And what did you say? I said I needed to talk to you first, that I was not going to agree to anything without hearing your side. He got angry. Said I was being naive, that I did not understand how bad things had gotten. And you believed him. No, Mama, I know you. You are sharper than anyone I know. If you were really declining, I would have seen it in our calls. But you have been the same as always, clear, sharp yourself. Thank you, Vivian. I needed to hear that. Mama, what is going on? What is Raymond doing? I will tell you everything, but not over the phone. Can you come visit? I will be there this weekend. Vivian arrived 3 days later. We sat in my living room, the same room where I had raised my children, where I had built my life, and I told her everything. The documents Raymond wanted me to sign, the money missing from my account, Elinor's discoveries about his research into guardianship, Priscilla's behavior, the slap. Vivian listened in horrified silence. She hit you, and Raymond just watched. He told me to stay in my lane. Oh, Mama, Vivian's eyes filled with tears. I am so sorry. I should have been here. I should have paid closer attention. You could not have known. I barely knew myself until recently. What are we going to do? We are going to protect me, and then we are going to make sure they can never do this to anyone else. The plan came together over the following week. First, I removed Raymond from all my accounts. I changed the passwords, transferred funds to new accounts at a different bank, and put alerts on everything. Second, I met with Elinor to update my legal documents. I created a new will, a new power of attorney, nomming Vivian, not Raymond, and a living trust that protected my assets from anyone who might try to take control. Third, I installed cameras in my house. Small, discreet, hidden. If Priscilla ever raised her hand to me again, I would have proof. And fourth, I reached out to a private investigator. I need to know everything about Priscilla Beaumont, I told him. Her background, her history, any secrets she might be hiding. Any particular reason. She is trying to destroy my life. I want to know why. They thought time was on their side. They thought I was a confused old woman who would eventually give in, who would sign whatever they put in front of me, who would surrender her home, her savings, her independence without a fight. But I was not fighting. That was what confused them. I was not arguing or threatening or making demands. I was quiet, compliant, seemingly accepting of my place. And that silence made them comfortable, made them careless. They stopped watching their words around me. They stopped hiding their plans. They assumed I had given up. That was their mistake. Because I was listening to every word, recording every conversation, building a case that would destroy them. 3 weeks after the slap, the private investigator called with news. Mrs. Beaumont, I found something big. Tell me. Priscilla Beaumont is not who she says she is. Her real name is Priscilla Hartwell. She was married twice before your son. Both husbands were significantly older than her. Both husbands died under unusual circumstances. My heart stopped. What kind of circumstances? The first husband died of a heart attack. He was 63, in good health, no warning signs. He had just changed his will to leave everything to Priscilla. And the second? Car accident, single vehicle. He drove off a bridge 6 months after they married. Priscilla inherited everything, over $2 million. I sat down heavily. You are telling me my daughter-in-law might be a murderer. I am telling you there are questions. Questions that were never properly investigated. Questions that might have answers if someone looked hard enough. Find those answers, whatever it costs. Yes, ma'am. I hung up the phone and sat in silence. My son had married a woman who might have killed her previous husbands. A woman who was now trying to take control of my life, my assets, everything I had built. And I did not fight back, not yet. Because fighting back would alert her, would give her time to cover her tracks, would put me in danger before I was ready. I needed evidence. I needed proof. I needed to understand exactly what I was dealing with. And then, only then, would I strike. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. The investigator's name was Marcus Webb. He was a former detective, retired from the force after 25 years. He had seen everything, murders, frauds, conspiracies that stretched across decades. Nothing surprised him anymore. But Priscilla Hartwell surprised him. "Mrs. Beaumont, I have been doing this work for a long time," he told me during our second meeting, "and I have never seen anyone cover their tracks this well." "What do you mean?" "I mean she is a professional. Every marriage, every death, every inheritance, it all looks clean on the surface. But when you dig deeper, patterns emerge." "What kind of patterns?" Marcus opened a folder and spread documents across my kitchen table. Her first husband, Gerald Morrison, 63 years old, successful businessman, married Priscilla when she was 28. He died of a heart attack 14 months later, 3 weeks after changing his will to make her the sole beneficiary. Could it have been natural? Maybe, but here is the thing. Gerald Morrison had a complete physical 6 weeks before he died. Perfect health. No heart issues, no warning signs, and the autopsy was minimal. Minimal. Quick, superficial, like someone wanted to close the case as fast as possible. I felt a chill run through me. And the second husband. Marcus pulled out another set of documents. Victor Hartwell, that is where she got the name she was using when she met your son. 61 years old, retired banker, worth over $3 million, married Priscilla 4 years after Gerald died. And he drove off a bridge. Single vehicle accident, no witnesses. The road was dry, the weather was clear. Victor Hartwell had been driving for 40 years without a single accident, and suddenly he loses control and goes off a bridge. The police did not investigate. They investigated, but Priscilla had an alibi. She was at a charity event 40 miles away, and Victor's blood showed traces of alcohol, so they ruled it an accident. Case closed. But you do not believe it was an accident. Marcus looked at me with serious eyes. "Mrs. Beaumont, I believe your daughter-in-law is one of the most dangerous people I have ever investigated, and I believe your son is either her accomplice or her next victim." That was the moment everything crystallized. Priscilla was not just a greedy woman trying to steal from me. She was a predator, a killer who had perfected her craft over decades. And she had set her sights on my family. I did not confront Raymond. I did not call the police. I did not warn anyone. Because I understood now what I was dealing with. Priscilla was careful, meticulous. She had killed at least 2 men and gotten away with it. If I moved too soon, if I showed my hand before I was ready, she would find a way to silence me. Maybe an accident, maybe a sudden illness. Maybe she would finally convince Raymond to have me committed to a facility where I could be controlled. No, I needed more evidence. I needed proof that could not be dismissed or explained away. And I needed to protect myself until I had it. The first step was physical security. Marcus recommended a bodyguard, a woman named Diana Okonkwo, who specialized in protecting high-risk clients. She moved into my guest room under the cover of being a home health aide. "If Priscilla asks, I am here to help you with daily tasks," Diana explained. "Cooking, cleaning, that sort of thing. She will not suspect anything. And if she tries something..." Diana smiled. It was not a warm smile. "Then she will regret it." The second step was documentation. I had already installed cameras in my house. Now Marcus helped me install recording devices in my car, my phone, every space where Priscilla might try to corner me. "We need her own words," Marcus said. "Admissions, confessions, anything that shows her true intentions." "How do we get her to talk?" "By making her comfortable, by letting her think she has won. People like Priscilla cannot resist gloating when they think they have beaten their opponents." I understood. It was the same reason I had not fought back when she slapped me. I was playing a longer game. The third step was finding other victims. Marcus reached out to the families of Gerald Morrison and Victor Hartwell. Most had moved on, accepted the official narratives, tried to forget. But one had not. Victor Hartwell had a daughter from his first marriage. Her name was Caroline, and she had never believed her father's death was an accident. "I told the police something was wrong," Caroline said when Marcus connected us by phone. "My father did not drink and drive. He was meticulous about that. And the way Priscilla acted after his death, cold, calculated, like she was reading from a script, I knew she had done something. But no one believed you. No one wanted to believe me. They said I was grieving, that I was looking for someone to blame. They said I needed to accept what happened and move on. I believe you, Caroline, and I am going to prove what she did. How? I do not know yet, but I promise you Priscilla will not get away with this. Not again. 2 weeks after my conversation with Caroline, Priscilla came to visit. I had not seen her since the slap. She walked into my house like she owned it, her smile sharp and cold. Mother Beaumont, you look well. Thank you, Priscilla. Would you like some tea? That would be lovely. Diana was in the kitchen, pretending to clean. She caught my eye and nodded slightly. The recording devices were active. We sat in my living room. Priscilla crossed her legs and looked around with appraising eyes, as if calculating the value of everything she saw. I wanted to apologize, she said, for what happened on your birthday. Oh. I lost my temper. That was wrong of me. Raymond and I have been under so much stress lately, and I took it out on you. I hope you can forgive me. Her words were smooth, rehearsed. She did not mean a syllable of them. Of course I forgive you, Priscilla. Family forgives. She smiled, satisfied. I am so glad. We really do want what is best for you, you know. Raymond worries about you constantly. Does he? Yes, he says you have been isolating yourself, not answering calls. He is afraid you are withdrawing from the world. I have been busy with some personal matters. Nothing to worry about. Well, we are here if you need anything. And Mother Beaumont, about those documents Raymond asked you to sign. There it was, the real reason for her visit. What about them? Have you had time to think? It really would put Raymond's mind at ease if he knew your affairs were in order. I sipped my tea slowly. I have thought about it, and I have decided to make some changes to my estate planning. Priscilla's eyes lit up. Really, that is wonderful. Yes, I have updated my will and created a living trust. Everything is taken care of. And Raymond, is he included in these arrangements? Of course, he is my son. Priscilla leaned forward slightly, her mask slipping just a bit. And the power of attorney, who holds that? My lawyer is handling everything. She has all the details. But Raymond should be involved. As your son, he should have some role in managing your affairs. I appreciate your concern, Priscilla, but I am perfectly capable of managing my own affairs. I do not need anyone taking control. Something flickered in her eyes, frustration, anger, the predator sensing that her prey was not as helpless as expected. But she recovered quickly. Of course, I did not mean to suggest otherwise. We just want to make sure you are protected. I am protected, very protected. After Priscilla left, Diana emerged from the kitchen. We got all of it, every word. Good, but it is not enough. She was careful. She did not admit to anything specific. She will. People like her always make mistakes eventually. They get too confident. I hope you are right. I do not know how much longer I can play this game. Deanna put a hand on my shoulder. You are doing better than you think, Mrs. Beaumont. Most people would have crumbled by now. You are still standing, still fighting, even if it does not look like fighting. It does not feel like fighting. It feels like waiting. Sometimes waiting is the hardest fight of all. A week later, Marcus called with news. I found something that could change everything. Tell me. Gerald Morrison, Priscilla's first husband, had a life insurance policy. $2 million. But here is the interesting part. The policy was taken out 6 weeks before he died. 6 weeks. And the beneficiary was changed from his children to Priscilla 3 days before the policy was finalized. That cannot be a coincidence. It gets better. The insurance company flagged the claim as suspicious. They launched an investigation, but it was dropped after 2 months. Why? Because the lead investigator retired suddenly, and a week after he retired, he bought a new house. Cash. I sat in stunned silence. She bribed him. It looks that way. But Mrs. Beaumont, here is the thing. Insurance companies keep records, detailed records, and they never throw anything away. You think the original investigation files still exist? I know they do. I have a contact at the company. She is willing to pull the files off the record if we can give her a good reason. What kind of reason? The truth, that we believe Priscilla Hartwell murdered Gerald Morrison and got away with it, and that she may be planning to do it again. Do it, get those files, whatever it costs. The insurance files arrived 3 days later. Marcus spread them across my dining room table. Hundreds of pages of documents, interviews, financial records. The picture they painted was damning. Gerald Morrison had been in perfect health. His doctor's records showed no heart problems, no risk factors, nothing that would suggest a sudden cardiac event. But his blood work, taken during the autopsy, showed elevated levels of potassium. Extremely elevated. The kind of levels that could trigger a fatal heart attack. The original investigator had noted this. He had recommended further testing. He had written in his notes, possible poisoning, recommend forensic analysis. But the recommendation was never followed. The case was closed, and the investigator retired with enough money to buy a house outright. She poisoned him, I said. She poisoned her first husband and bribed someone to cover it up. That is what the evidence suggests. Is this enough? Can we go to the police? Marcus hesitated. It is old evidence. The investigator who took the bribe is dead now, heart attack, ironically. And Priscilla's lawyers would argue that this is all speculation. We need something more current, something that shows she is still a threat. So we keep waiting. We keep building the case, and we stay alert, because if Priscilla senses that we are onto her, she will move fast, and she will not hesitate to eliminate anyone in her way. That night, I lay in bed thinking about everything I had learned. Priscilla had killed at least 2 men, possibly more. She had perfected her methods over decades, and now she was in my family, circling closer and closer to everything I had built. I thought about Raymond, my son, the child I had raised, loved, sacrificed for. Was he her accomplice, or her victim? I did not know anymore. I did not know if the son I remembered still existed, or if Priscilla had hollowed him out and replaced him with someone I did not recognize. But I knew one thing. I could not save Raymond if I could not save myself first. So I would keep not fighting, keep waiting, keep building my case. And when the time came, I would strike so hard that Priscilla would never recover. 3 weeks later, Raymond came to visit alone. He looked terrible, thin, pale, with dark circles under his eyes. He sat in my living room and stared at the floor. "Mama, I need to tell you something about Priscilla." My heart stopped. "What is it, Raymond?" "I think I made a terrible mistake." Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Raymond sat across from me, his hands trembling. The man I saw was not the son who had stood by while his wife slapped me. This was someone else, broken, frightened, desperate. "Tell me everything," I said quietly. He looked up at me with hollow eyes. "I do not know where to start." "Start at the beginning. How did you meet Priscilla?" Raymond took a shaky breath. "It was at a conference, like I told you. She was beautiful, confident, everything I thought I wanted. She made me feel special, important, like I was the only person in the room. And then, things moved fast, too fast. Looking back, I can see that now, but at the time I do not know, hypnotized. She knew exactly what to say, exactly how to make me feel." "When did things change?" Raymond's jaw tightened. "After we got married, it was like a switch flipped. The woman I had fallen in love with disappeared, and someone else took her place." "Someone else?" "Cold, calculating. She started asking questions about you, Mama, about your finances, your health, your property. At first, I thought she was just being practical. But then... Then what?" She started making plans. She would talk about what would happen when you were gone, not if when, like your death was already scheduled. I felt ice in my veins. Did she ever talk about hurting me? Raymond looked at the floor. Not directly, but she would say things like, "These things have a way of working out, and sometimes nature just takes its course." I told myself I was imagining things, that she did not mean what it sounded like. But you knew. I think I always knew. I just did not want to believe it. That was the moment I understood why Raymond had stood by during the slap. He was not just complicit, he was trapped. Priscilla had gone her hooks into him, and he was too afraid or too weak to break free. But understanding did not mean forgiving. Not yet, maybe not ever. "Raymond, why are you telling me this now?" He was quiet for a long moment. "Because I found something that made it impossible to keep pretending." "What did you find?" "Her journal." My heart stopped. Her journal. She keeps it hidden, in a lockbox in her closet. I found the key by accident. It fell out of her purse when she was not looking. I should not have opened it, but I had to know. What was in it? Raymond's face went pale. Everything, her real name, her previous marriages, what happened to her husbands. She wrote it all down like she was proud of it. I leaned forward. "Raymond, do you still have access to this journal?" "No, she moved it after I found it. She does not know I read it, but she must have sensed something was wrong. She has been watching me more closely ever since." What exactly did the journal say about her husbands? Raymond closed his eyes. Gerald was first. She poisoned him. Potassium chloride injected while he slept made it look like a heart attack. And Victor. She tampered with his car, cut something in the brakes. He never had a chance. I sat back, absorbing this. Everything Marcus had suspected, everything the insurance files had hinted at, Raymond had seen it written in Priscilla's own hand. And what did she write about me? Raymond could not meet my eyes. She has a plan. She has been working on it for years. First, she wanted to get control of your assets through the power of attorney, but when you refused to sign, she decided to take a more direct approach. Yes. What is her plan, Raymond? How does she intend to kill me? The word hung in the air. Kill, my own daughter-in-law planning my murder. She has not decided yet, but she was researching options. Things that would look natural, falls, medication interactions, house fires. House fires. She wrote that it would be the cleanest. No body to examine, no evidence to find, just a tragic accident. I thought about my house, 44 years of memories, everything I had built. Priscilla wanted to burn it all, including me, and collect whatever was left. Raymond, why did you go along with this for so long? He finally looked at me. There were tears in his eyes. Because I was afraid, Mama. Afraid of what she would do to me if I refused. Afraid of what she had already done. I kept telling myself it would not really happen, that she was just talking, that I could control her. But you cannot control her. No, I cannot. She controls me. She has since the day we met. I studied my son, this broken man who had watched his wife strike me and said nothing. Part of me wanted to throw him out, to tell him he had made his choice and now he had to live with it, to wash my hands of him forever. But another part of me saw the boy I had raised, the child who had come to me with his fears and his dreams, the son who had once loved me without reservation. Priscilla had taken that son and twisted him into something unrecognizable. But maybe, just maybe, he was still in there somewhere. Raymond, I need you to do something for me. Anything, Mama. I need you to get that journal. I told you, she moved it. I do not know where it is. Then find it, search the house, her car, her office, wherever she might hide something she does not want anyone to see. And if she catches me, then you tell her whatever lie you need to tell. You play the obedient husband. You do whatever it takes to keep her unsuspecting. And then you bring the journal to me, and we end this, together. Raymond stared at me for a long moment. She will kill me if she finds out. She will kill both of us if we do not stop her. The question is whether you want to spend the rest of your life as her accomplice or whether you want to fight back. I do not know if I am strong enough. Then find the strength. For me, for yourself, for the person you used to be before she destroyed you. Raymond was quiet, then slowly he nodded. I will find the journal, I promise. Do not promise, just do it. He stood to leave. At the door he paused. Mama. Yes. I am sorry, for everything, for the slap, for standing by, for all of it. I know you are Raymond. Can you ever forgive me? I looked at my son, this man who had failed me so completely, this man who might be my only hope of stopping Priscilla. Ask me again when this is over. He nodded and walked out. After Raymond left, Diana emerged from the hallway where she had been listening. Do you believe him? I do not know. He could be telling the truth, or Priscilla could have sent him to find out what I know. What do you want to do? We proceed carefully. We do not share anything with Raymond that we are not willing for Priscilla to know, but we let him try to get the journal. If he succeeds, we have the evidence we need. If he fails, we will know whose side he is really on. Exactly. 2 weeks passed. Raymond called every few days with updates. He had searched the house, the car, the garage, no sign of the journal. Priscilla had hidden it well. But he was not giving up. She has a storage unit, he told me during one call. I just found out about it. She pays for it from a separate account I did not know existed. Do you have access? Not yet, but I am working on it. Be careful, Raymond. Do not let her suspect anything. I will not. I know what is at stake. While Raymond searched, Marcus continued his investigation. He had tracked down more of Priscilla's history. Before Gerald Morrison, there had been other men. A boyfriend who died in a hiking accident. A business partner who committed suicide under suspicious circumstances. The pattern stretched back decades. A trail of bodies, all connected to a woman who kept changing her name and her story. She has been doing this since she was in her 20s, Marcus told me. We are looking at a serial predator with at least 30 years of experience. How has she never been caught? Because she is patient. She takes her time. She builds relationships, gains trust, positions herself perfectly. And when she strikes, it always looks like an accident or natural causes. Until now. Until now, because for the first time, someone is looking, someone is connecting the dots, and someone is going to stop her. 3 weeks after Raymond's confession, he called me at 2 in the morning. Mama, I found it. The journal. Yes, it was in the storage unit, hidden inside an old suitcase. I have it. I am bringing it to you now. Raymond, be careful, if Priscilla finds out. She is asleep. She took her pills. She will not wake up for hours. Come quickly. I hung up and called Deanna. Raymond is on his way. He has the journal. I will be ready. Raymond arrived 40 minutes later. He was pale and shaking, clutching a leather-bound book to his chest. He handed it to me like it was a bomb that might explode at any moment. This is it. Everything is in there. I opened the journal. The handwriting was elegant, precise. The tone was clinical, detached, like a scientist recording experimental results rather than a human being documenting murder. Gerald was almost too easy. The potassium worked exactly as expected. His face when he realized something was wrong, I will never forget it. Pure confusion. He died without understanding what was happening. Perfect. I turned the page. Victor was more challenging. He was suspicious by nature, always checking his car, his food, his surroundings. But I found his weakness, vanity. He could not resist when I suggested a romantic drive along the coast. The brake line was cut perfectly. By the time he realized something was wrong, it was too late. Page after page, death after death, each one documented with cold precision. And then I found the entries about me. Mother Beaumont is proving more difficult than expected. She refused to sign the documents. She is sharper than I anticipated, but she is old. Old people have accidents. Old people get sick. Old people die in house fires. Raymond is becoming a problem. He is weak, sentimental. I may need to accelerate the timeline before he loses his nerve entirely. The house is worth at least $800,000. The savings and investments another $300,000. Once the old woman is gone, Raymond will inherit everything. And once Raymond has served his purpose. The entry ended there, but the implication was clear. Raymond was not just Priscilla's accomplice. He was her next victim. I looked up at my son. Did you read this? Yes. Then you know what she is planning for you. I know. Once she has the money, she does not need me anymore. And you still went back to her every night, slept beside her, let her think everything was normal. I did not know what else to do, Mama. I was trapped. You are not trapped anymore. This journal is evidence of multiple murders. We can go to the police. We can stop her. Will they believe us? With everything Marcus has found, yes, they will believe us. Diana stepped forward. Mrs. Beaumont, we should move quickly. If Priscilla wakes up and finds the journal missing, she will know Raymond took it. And she will do whatever it takes to protect herself. I made a decision. Raymond, you cannot go back to that house. What? You are staying here tonight. Tomorrow we go to the police together. We give them the journal, the insurance files, everything Marcus has found. But Priscilla cannot hurt you if you are not there. Diana is here for protection. And by tomorrow, Priscilla will be in custody. Raymond looked at me with something like hope. Do you really think this can end? It will end. One way or another, it will end. We did not sleep that night. We sat together, Raymond, Diana, Marcus, and me, preparing for what was to come. But as the sun rose, my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered. Hello, Mother Beaumont. Priscilla's voice was ice cold. I know what you have done, and I know where Raymond is. If you think a journal and some old files can stop me, you are very much mistaken. How did you? I have eyes everywhere, and I have been doing this much longer than you have been investigating me. You should have stayed quiet, old woman. You should have known your place. What do you want, Priscilla? I want what I have always wanted, everything, and if you do not give it to me, I will take it, starting with your son. The line went dead. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. The silence after Priscilla's call lasted exactly 7 seconds. Then everyone moved at once. Marcus was on his phone, calling his contacts at the police department. Diana was checking the windows, securing the doors, making sure every entrance was covered. Raymond sat frozen on my couch, his face white as paper. And I stood in the center of my living room, the phone still in my hand, my heart pounding but my mind clear. Priscilla had made her move. She had revealed herself, and in doing so, she had made a critical error. She thought her threat would break me, would send me running, would make me surrender everything just to save my son. But I had spent months not fighting back, months building my case, months preparing for exactly this moment. And now the fight was here. Mrs. Beaumont, we need to get you to a safe location, Diana said, her hand on my arm. No. Excuse me. I am not running. This is my house, my life. I will not let her chase me out of it. With respect, ma'am, Priscilla is dangerous. She has killed before. She will not hesitate. I know exactly what she is capable of. That is why we are going to end this today, on my terms. Marcus hung up his phone. I have 2 detectives on their way. They are taking the threat seriously, especially with the evidence we have. How long? 20 minutes, maybe less. Good. In the meantime, we prepare. I turned to Raymond. Your wife said she has eyes everywhere. What does that mean? Who is watching us? Raymond shook his head, struggling to focus. I do not know. She has people, connections. She never told me the details. Think, Raymond. Who does she talk to? Who does she meet with? He closed his eyes, forcing himself to concentrate. There is a man, Derek. He does odd jobs for her, surveillance, following people. He has been watching you for months, Mama. Do you know where to find him? He lives on the east side. I have his address somewhere. Give it to Marcus. While Raymond searched his phone for Derek's information, I went to my bedroom safe. Inside were the most important documents of my life. My will, my property deed, the evidence Marcus had gathered, and one thing more, a letter I had written the night Priscilla slapped me. A letter to be opened in the event of my death. I had written it because I knew, even then, that Priscilla might try to kill me. I wanted there to be a record, a voice from beyond the grave that would point investigators in the right direction. But I did not plan to die today, and I did not plan to let Priscilla escape justice. I took the letter and added it to the folder of evidence. Then I carried everything to the living room and placed it on the table. This is everything, I said. The journal, the insurance files, the surveillance records, my own documentation of Priscilla's behavior. When the police arrive, they will have more than enough to arrest her. And if she runs, Diana asked. Then they will find her. People like Priscilla think they are invisible, but they leave trails, patterns, and now that we know what to look for, she cannot hide. The police arrived in 18 minutes. Detective Angela Morrison was the lead, the same detective who had worked on several of Marcus's cases over the years. She was sharp, experienced, and utterly unimpressed by wealthy suspects who thought they were above the law. Mrs. Beaumont, Mr. Webb has briefed me on the situation. I need to see the evidence. I handed her the folder. She spent 20 minutes reviewing the contents, her face growing grimmer with each page. This journal, she said finally. If it is authentic, it documents multiple homicides. It is authentic. My son retrieved it from Priscilla's storage unit. She has been keeping it for years. And she threatened you directly this morning. Yes, she said she would take everything, starting with my son. Detective Morrison looked at Raymond. Mr. Beaumont, you are willing to testify against your wife. Raymond nodded slowly. Yes, I should have done it years ago. I was afraid, but I am not afraid anymore. Good, we are going to need your full cooperation. She turns to her partner. Put out an APB on Priscilla Beaumont, also known as Priscilla Hartwell, also known as Priscilla Morrison. Suspect is considered dangerous. Do not approach alone. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Police officers came and went. Statements were taken. Evidence was catalogued. My house became the center of an investigation that would eventually span 3 states and uncover crimes stretching back 30 years. But Priscilla was not found. She had vanished. Her car was gone. Her credit cards were untouched. Her phone was turned off. She had planned for this. She had known that someday someone might get close enough to expose her, and she had prepared an escape route. She has done this before, Marcus said grimly. After Victor Hartwell died, she disappeared for 6 months before resurfacing with a new name. She knows how to vanish. Then we find her, I said, however long it takes. Mrs. Beaumont, with respect, that may not be possible. If she has money hidden away, if she has contacts who can help her disappear. I do not care how difficult it is. I am not going to spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder. Priscilla will be found. She will face justice. I will accept nothing less. 3 days passed with no sign of Priscilla. The police searched her known locations. They tracked her financial accounts. They interviewed her associates, including Derek, the man who had been surveilling me. Derek talked. He talked a lot. In exchange for immunity on the surveillance charges, he provided everything he knew about Priscilla's operations. She had safe houses, multiple identities, bank accounts in 3 different countries. She had been building her escape network for over a decade. But Derek did not know where she had gone. She had cut him off the moment she realized the investigation was closing in. She is in the wind, Detective Morrison told me. We have alerts at every airport, every border crossing, every transportation hub in the region. But if she has false documents, if she has help we do not know about, she could be anywhere. Yes. I sat with that reality for a long moment. Priscilla was gone. She might never be caught. She might spend the rest of her life free, enjoying the money she had stolen from her victims. But she would also spend the rest of her life running, looking over her shoulder, knowing that somewhere people were still searching for her. That was not justice, but it was something. On the fourth day, everything changed. I was in my kitchen making tea when my phone rang. Unknown number. My heart stopped, but I answered anyway. Hello. Mrs. Beaumont, this is Detective Morrison. We found her. Where? She was trying to cross into Canada at a remote border point. A sharp-eyed agent recognized her from the APB. She is in custody. I sat down heavily, my hands shaking. She is caught. She is caught, and Mrs. Beaumont, there is more. When they searched her vehicle, they found another journal, a more recent one. It contains plans for, well, you should know. There were detailed plans for your death, and Raymond's. She was going to stage it as a murder-suicide, make it look like your son killed you and then himself. I closed my eyes. She had planned to kill us both, to tie up every loose end, to walk away clean just like she had done before. But she had failed. For the first time in 30 years, Priscilla Hartwell had failed. The trial took 8 months to prepare. Prosecutors built their case methodically, connecting Priscilla to the deaths of Gerald Morrison, Victor Hartwell, and at least 2 other victims who had previously been classified as accidental deaths or suicides. The journals were the centerpiece of the prosecution. Priscilla's own words, documenting her crimes with chilling precision. Her lawyers tried to have them excluded, claimed they were obtained illegally, that Raymond had no right to take them, but the judge ruled them admissible. Priscilla sat through the trial with an expression of cold detachment. She never showed emotion, never expressed remorse. Even when victims' families testified about their loved ones, she simply stared straight ahead, as if she were watching something that did not concern her. The jury deliberated for 3 days. They found her guilty on 4 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and multiple counts of fraud, forgery, and conspiracy. The sentence: life in prison without the possibility of parole. I was in the courtroom when the verdict was read. I watched Priscilla's face as the judge pronounced her sentence. For just a moment, a fraction of a second, something flickered in her eyes. Not remorse, not fear. Surprise. She had never believed she could be caught, never believed anyone was smart enough, patient enough, determined enough to stop her. She had underestimated me, just like everyone else. And now, she would spend the rest of her life paying for that mistake. After the verdict, Caroline Hartwell, Victor's daughter, found me in the hallway outside the courtroom. She was crying. "Thank you," she said, taking my hands. "Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for believing me when no one else would. I believed you because I was living the same nightmare. Priscilla fooled a lot of people, but she could not fool all of us. My father would have been so grateful. He was a good man. He deserved better than what she did to him. They all deserved better. Gerald, Victor, everyone she hurt. At least now they have justice." Caroline hugged me tightly. "What will you do now?" she asked. "I will go home. I will tend my garden. I will spend time with the family I have left, and I will live the rest of my life in peace. You have earned it. We both have." The months after the trial were quiet. I returned to my house, the house Priscilla had wanted to burn with me inside, and I began the slow process of healing. Diana stayed for a few weeks, just to make sure there were no lingering threats. But eventually, she returned to her regular work, and I was alone again. But alone did not feel the same as before. The weight was gone. The shadow that had been hanging over my life had finally lifted. I was free. Raymond moved into an apartment across town. He was a broken man. The trial had exposed everything: his complicity, his cowardice, his willingness to stand by while his wife planned murder. He had testified for the prosecution, but that did not erase what he had done. The public blamed him. The media blamed him. Even some of the victims' families blamed him. And he blamed himself most of all. We did not speak for the first few months. I was not ready. The wound was too fresh, the betrayal too deep. But as time passed, I found myself thinking about him more and more. Not with anger, not with forgiveness, just with something, a heaviness that would not lift. He was still my son. Despite everything, he was still the boy I had raised. 6 months after the trial, I invited Raymond to dinner. He arrived looking older than his years. His hair had gone gray. His shoulders were stooped. He moved like a man carrying an invisible weight. "Mama, thank you for seeing me." "Sit down, Raymond. We need to talk." We sat at my kitchen table, the same table where Priscilla had once sat, playing the role of the concerned daughter-in-law while plotting my death. "I have been thinking about what happened," I said, "about your role in it, about what you did and what you failed to do." Raymond looked at the table. "I know, Mama, I failed you. I failed everyone." "Yes, you did. You stood by while your wife struck me. You helped her try to take control of my life. You knew what she was, and you did nothing." "I was afraid." "I know you were afraid. Fear is powerful. It can make people do terrible things, but Raymond, fear is not an excuse. At some point you have to choose, and you chose wrong. For years you chose wrong." "I know. But you also chose right in the end. You came to me. You told me the truth. You got the journal. Without you, Priscilla might have gotten away with everything." Raymond looked up, surprised. Does that mean you forgive me?" I thought about the question for a long moment. Forgiveness is not a single moment, Raymond. It is a process, a journey. I am not there yet. I may never be completely there. But I am willing to try. I am willing to rebuild. Slowly, carefully, one step at a time. "I will do anything, Mama, whatever it takes." What it takes is time, and honesty, and showing me day by day that you are not the man who stood by while his wife raised her hand to his mother. "I am not that man anymore. I promise." "Do not promise. Show me." He nodded, tears streaming down his face. I will show you." We sat in silence for a while, not comfortable, not easy, but something. A beginning. Vivian flew in from Chicago for my 76th birthday. It was a small gathering, just family, just the people who had stood by me through the worst year of my life. We ate cake and told stories and laughed about the old days. We talked about the future, Vivian's children, Raymond's attempts to rebuild his life, my plans to travel now that I finally had peace. And we talked about what had happened, not with bitterness, not with anger, just with the clear-eyed honesty of people who had survived something terrible together. "Mama, I have been thinking," Vivian said as the party wound down, "about what you did, how you handled everything." "What about it?" "You did not fight back, not at first. You let Priscilla think she was winning. You let her get comfortable. And then, when the time was right, you struck." "That is right." "Why? Why not fight back immediately? Why not go to the police the moment she slapped you?" I thought about the question. Because fighting back would have warned her. She would have covered her tracks. She would have found another way to hurt me. By not fighting, by staying quiet, I gave her space to make mistakes. I gave myself time to build a case she could not escape. It must have been hard, watching her think she had one. It was the hardest thing I have ever done. Every instinct told me to fight, to defend myself, to make her pay for what she had done. But I knew that fighting would only make things worse. So I waited, I planned, I prepared. And it worked. Yes, it worked. Vivian took my hand. "I am so proud of you, Mama. You are the strongest person I know." "I am not strong, baby. I am just stubborn. Too stubborn to let anyone take what is mine." 1 year after the trial, I received a letter. It was from the prison, from Priscilla. I almost threw it away without reading it. What could she possibly have to say? What words could matter now? But curiosity got the better of me. I opened the envelope and read. "Dear Mother Beaumont, I have had a lot of time to think about what happened, about how you stopped me, about where I went wrong. I underestimated you. That was my mistake. I saw an old woman, alone and vulnerable. I thought you would be easy. I thought you would fold like all the others. But you were different. You were patient. You were smart. You did not fight back when I expected you to, and that threw me off, made me careless, made me think I had already won. I want you to know that I do not regret what I did. I regret getting caught. I regret underestimating you. But the things I did, the people I hurt, I feel nothing. Some people are born without the ability to feel guilt. I am one of those people. I know that now. I have always known, really. I just never admitted it to myself. You won, Mother Beaumont. Enjoy your victory. Enjoy your house and your money and your remaining years. But know this, if I had the chance to do it all again, I would. And next time, I would not underestimate you. Priscilla. I read the letter twice, then I burned it. She wanted to get in my head, to unsettle me, to make me afraid even from behind bars. But I was not afraid, not anymore. Priscilla was locked away forever. She could not hurt me. She could not hurt anyone else. Her letter was the last gasp of a predator who had finally been caged. I watched the paper turn to ash and felt nothing but peace. 2 years after the trial, I made a decision. I sold my house. Not because I was afraid, not because of the memories, but because it was time. Time to start fresh. Time to build something new. I bought a smaller place, a cottage near the ocean, with a garden and a view of the sunrise. Vivian helped me move in. Raymond came to help too, carrying boxes, painting walls, making himself useful. We were not fully healed. We might never be fully healed, but we were trying. Day by day, step by step, we were rebuilding what Priscilla had tried to destroy. On my first morning in my new home, I sat on the porch and watched the sun come up. The ocean stretched out before me, endless and eternal. The waves rolled in and out, constant and unchanging. The world continued just as it always had. I thought about everything that had happened, the slap that had started it all, the investigation that had followed, the trial, the verdict, the long, slow process of putting the pieces back together. I had not fought back when Priscilla struck me. I had not raised my voice or demanded justice or made a scene. And that choice, that decision to stay quiet, to be patient, to wait for the right moment, had changed everything. Fighting back would have felt good. It would have been satisfying, but it would not have stopped Priscilla. She would have adapted, adjusted, found another way. By not fighting, I had robbed her of her advantage. I had made her think she had already won. And in her complacency, she had made the mistakes that led to her downfall. If you are watching this story, I want you to remember something. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is not fight back. Not because you are weak, not because you are afraid, but because you are smart enough to know that there is a time for battle and a time for patience. Priscilla expected me to fight. She was prepared for resistance. She had plans for how to deal with an angry old woman demanding justice. But she was not prepared for silence. She was not prepared for patience. She was not prepared for an opponent who understood that the greatest victories are not won through force, but through strategy. I did not fight back. And that changed everything. My name is Harriet Celestine Beaumont. I am 77 years old now. I live in a cottage by the ocean. I tend my garden. I watch the sunrise. I spend time with the family I have left. And I am at peace. It took a long time to get here, a long road through pain and betrayal and fear, but I made it. I survived. I won. Not by fighting, not by force, but by being smarter, more patient, more determined. Priscilla thought I was broken when I did not fight back after she slapped me. She thought my silence meant surrender. But silence can mean many things. It can mean defeat. Or it can mean preparation. Mine was preparation, and when I finally struck, I struck with everything I had. Never underestimate a quiet woman. Never assume that patience means weakness. Never believe that not fighting back means surrender. Some of us are simply waiting, watching, building our strength. And when we finally move, we move with the force of everything we have endured. Priscilla learned that lesson too late. But you can learn it now. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Thank you for being here through every twist and revelation. If this story moved you, please subscribe to this channel. Press the like button. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss another story. And drop a comment. Tell me where you are watching from. Tell me if you have ever had to not fight back, and what happened when you finally did. I want to hear from you. I want to know I am not alone. Because none of us are alone. We are all connected by our struggles and our strength, by the battles we fight and the patience we practice, by the moments when we stay silent and the moments when we finally speak. Until next time, take care of yourselves, protect yourselves, and remember that not fighting back can be the most powerful choice you ever make. Your patience can be your greatest weapon. Use it wisely. This is Harriet Celestine Beaumont, and my story is finally complete.